Hi folks, and welcome to Assembling the Pieces of Your First Power BI Report, Section 2 in PAC's course Power BI for the Business Professional. In the first video, we'll create a Power BI report from a flat file. Now here we see a flat file, and by flat we simply mean there's a single table of data in the file, no structure other than that. The file format is a comma-separated value format, which simply means that each individual column of data is separated from the next by a column, and each individual row is separated from the next by a new line. This particular file is in what we might choose to call data model format. Each individual line is as we might see it in a relational database. If, for instance, there are 3 years of data for the country of Canada, we're going to see 3 separate rows of data for Canada in our data model. We'll come back to this point later on because this is not true for all flat file formats. Now that we've seen the file of data we would like to import, let's go to Power BI and actually import it. We go to the Get Data menu, text/CSV for comma-separated values. Here's the file. We'll open it, and when we get to our preview, the first thing we want to look and examine is whether or not Power BI Power Query Import has correctly identified that the first row in our file represents column names as opposed to actual row data. In this case it does, so we should have no trouble. We'll just go ahead and directly load the data into our report. Once the data has loaded into our report, we see the file name, the data source name if you prefer, over along the right-hand edge, and the individual columns of data that are available to us are underneath. We'll choose a particular visualization. In this case, we might choose a clustered column chart. When we press that button, we get a blank chart that we can size appropriately. And once we've selected the size we like, we can go ahead and choose the column values. I'll start by clicking Sales. We see a single bar representing the total of all sales. I'll try clicking Year. And if I click Year, I'm a little surprised. What I see is a second very small bar indicating the sum of the years. Power BI does not recognize on its own that we don't want year as a number that we're going to add up. We want year to represent different bars in our chart. So instead of checking year and letting Power BI do what it thinks is best, we will grab the year and add the year to the data fields. Now we have something closer to what we would like, a different bar for each year. We can then drag continent name down to the field in the visualizations properties section that says legend. And now we get 3 clusters of data. We have a major cluster for 2007, 2008, 2009, and within each of those clusters, we have a separate bar for each of the continents. We will very likely wish to change the formatting. We can do this by going back to the visualizations property and clicking on Format. This allows us to change many of the visual properties of the chart. Most noticeably, we might wish to pick different colors for our data. For instance, we can go to the Asia drop-down. We can pick another of the built-in colors if we like. Or if none of the built-in colors are satisfactory for us, we can go ahead and click Custom Color and pick what we want from a color wheel. I'll go for something in the navy blue area. Now, once we have our first visualization, we can click anywhere outside that visualization in preparation for creating a second. I might choose to go back to the visualizations Properties, and pick Tree Map. You'll notice that each of the visualizations is identified by an appropriate tooltip. So when I click Tree Map, I'll get a new blank visualization, and I can bring that over to where I want it. If I forgot to click outside of the first visualization and I clicked Tree Map, what I would actually be doing is changing the first visualization rather than creating a new one. So I'll make sure I go back to Clustered Column Chart for the first one. To create the tree map, I'll make sure that the tree map control is selected, and I can go ahead and click Continent Name and Sales, and now I get a very simple tree map. If I please, I can grab Region Country Name from the columns list and drag it to Details. This will organize each of the major regions into individual smaller rectangles representing individual countries. I'm almost done, but one of the important characteristics of any report is that the color choices should be consistent. For instance, Asia is represented by blue in the first chart. Asia is represented by a more greenish color in the second. So what I would like to do is click on the tree chart, go to the Format tab, once again go to Data Colors, once again go to Asia, and notice that I no longer have to go to the Custom Color menu and pick a custom color. The fact that I picked the blue previously puts blue on the recent colors list. I can simply pick blue for Asia, and now I have a more consistent report.